I-Team investigation. Some local counselors who specialize in helping people break away from religious sects tell the I-Team that they're concerned about some groups here in Massachusetts. Good evening, I'm Paula Eben.
And I'm Anaritas Rodriguez. WBZ's Christina Hager sat down with some of the former members of one controversial religious group on Cape Cod.
From the outside, the Cape Cod-based Community of Jesus is an idyllic stroke of architecture, art, and music.
I definitely was repeatedly traumatized while I was there.
Carrie Buddington left a decade ago, still haunted from when she says she was forced to give up her baby to be raised by a group of teenagers in the community for 3 years in the 1980s. It's an allegation the church won't comment on.
I think that's a pain that will always be with me.
It was because others in her group home noticed her daughter cried a lot.
I would go and pick her up to comfort her. The woman who was at the head of the house would come and yell at me for being soft on her and that she was reacting to my sin and that the best thing for her was to take her away from me. She bonded with them. And when she finally was placed back with me, she can remember wondering why she was being placed back with this strange woman. She didn't know I was her mother.
Last year, a Canadian judge ruled in favor of students who sued a now defunct Community of Jesus affiliated school, saying it created an abusive, authoritarian, and rigid culture.
You just exist in fear because you feel trapped.
We agreed to protect this former member's identity, someone raised in the Community of Jesus who alleges a disciplinary practice in which people were singled out.
And they're yelling at you about something you did and making you feel like the worst person on earth.
We asked members of the Community of Jesus about these stories and were referred to attorney Jeff Robbins. Of course, none of these things you say were alleged by someone to have occurred are the policy of the community or in any way consistent with its way of life. The suggestion otherwise is not merely offensive, it is outrageous, he said. It is disgraceful.
There is the presentation that is for public consumption, and then there is the life that's behind the scenes.
Bob and Judy Pardon are counselors who've helped members like Buddington and more than a dozen others break away from the Community of Jesus.
How do you know when it's crossed over into a destructive group?
Are you able to be you? Can you make your own decisions?
Manipulative groups exist. They cause members harm. And it is going on now, and it's in our backyard, and I just wish people would not ignore it.
Robbins says Buddington was a member for 40 years, a long time, he says, to stay in a place she's now made it her life's work to scorn. For the I-Team, Christina Hager, WBZ News.